Right now, live at 5, an unprecedented threat of violence. That's what security experts are saying. How that's prompting changes ahead of next week's inauguration. Plus, more stimulus checks could be on the way as President-elect Joe Biden unveils a massive COVID relief plan.
The historic Temple Opera building is off the market. Which business took it over?
Plus, Wisconsin's governor declares a new public health emergency as he extends the state's mask mandate.
You're watching Live at 5 on Live Local CBS3.
Welcome to the CBS3 News Live at 5. Here's a live look at the U.S. Capitol, where preparations are underway to keep the area safe and secure during the inauguration. This as President-elect Joe Biden aims to put more money in struggling Americans' pockets. Good evening, I'm Anthony Mack. Kristen is on assignment tonight. Thanks for joining us. Federal law enforcement agencies say the cost of securing next week's inauguration is close to $35 million. Nearly 20,000 National Guard members are expected to be on the ground the day of the ceremony. Skylar Henry is on Capitol Hill, where the House Speaker has announced new investigation efforts.
The nation's capital is in lockdown, 5 days ahead of the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.
We cannot allow a recurrence of the chaos and illegal activity that the United States and the world witnessed last week.
The Justice Department reported on a Friday conference call the bulk of 98 criminal cases filed so far in connection to last week's Capitol assault are federal felony cases. D.C.'s acting U.S. Attorney Michael Sherwin added that right now there is no direct evidence teams of rioters were looking to capture or kill during the assault, but investigations are ongoing.
That is a Tier 1 top priority for both the U.S. Attorney's Office and our federal law enforcement partners to see, again, whether there was this overarching command and control and whether there were these organized teams that were organized to breach the Capitol and then perhaps try to accomplish some type of a mission inside the Capitol.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has authorized her own review of Capitol security in light of last week's assault.
The announcement was made during her first news conference since the House impeached President Trump for a second time.
I have asked retired Lieutenant General Russell Honore to lead an immediate review of security infrastructure, interagency processes, and command and control.
The Washington Post is now reporting Vice President Mike Pence was rushed away from the Senate chamber just 1 minute before rioters reached nearby halls. In a statement to CBS News, the U.S. Secret Service said Vice President Pence was secure at all times on January 6th.
The U.S. National Park Service says it is allowing 2 protest groups to move forward with plans to demonstrate away from the Capitol under strict security measures. Meanwhile, President-elect Joe Biden has an aggressive COVID-19 relief package that he hopes will help millions of Americans struggling with the pandemic. The nearly $2 trillion plan calls for $1,400 checks to Americans. It increases federal unemployment insurance and provides a higher child tax credit. It also earmarks $160 billion for a national vaccination program. The bill is designed to both combat the coronavirus pandemic and boost the economy. The legislation still needs to get through Congress and will likely need support from at least a few Republicans.
The crisis of deep human suffering is in plain sight, and there's no time to waste. We have to act, and we have to act now.
The plan also includes billions of dollars for more testing and helping schools. Wisconsin's mask mandate will last at least another 2 months. The state's mask requirement and public health emergency were set to expire next week. Today, Governor Tony Evers announced he's extending both by 60 days. Evers says the mask mandate will help prevent the spread of the coronavirus as the state continues vaccinating more groups.
So folks, don't give up now. Wear your mask, stay home whenever you can, support businesses, and catch up with families virtually. And let's get together. Let's get through this pandemic together.
Evers also announced the state will start vaccinating essential workers next week. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says the state capitol will be safe this weekend and beyond. Security preparations are already underway, though, amid concerns about potential attacks at state capitals ahead of President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. State officials say they have not found any credible local threats. The Minnesota National Guard will remain activated to protect the state capitol. Governor Walz says they're still prepared to handle any potential situations.
The coordination is is happening. The emergency operations centers are open and coordinating together, and the force structure that the professionals have advised and asked for is being put into place.
Security officials have asked Minnesotans to consider staying away from the state capitol complex unless they have specific planned activities or business there. A historic building on Superior Street got an extreme facelift. You'll remember the city of Duluth put the Temple Opera building on the market several years ago. Now, a Fargo-based bank has recently taken it over. CBS3's Leanne Valdez gives us a look inside the renovated building and how it tells us how the tenants preserved some pieces of Duluth history.
So this is the original Temple Opera block building.
If the walls at the Temple Opera building on Superior Street could talk,
It's a spectacular building.
they'd tell some interesting stories.
So we're standing here at this point.
The building was built in 1889 by Masons, says publisher of Zenith City Press, Tony Durkins.
The Masons actually occupied the 4th and 5th floors.
The building has served as many things, says Durkins.
There was actually an opera house attached to the back, the Temple Opera House, where the Orpheum Theater is now.
The second floor of the building was also the first home of the Duluth Public Library from 1890 to 1902. The building sat vacant for a couple of decades until now.
We gutted it down to the brownstone and then brought it back and made it functional for today's banking environments.
A Fargo-based bank signed an agreement to lease it.
So the entire project lasted about 8 months. Of course, the planning started long before that.
Bell Bank renovated the building's 3 floors, and they also restored pieces of its history.
The balcony itself is original, as is the wrought iron railing on the balcony.
A light fixture and the brownstone outside of the building was left.
When the building was built, the keyhole windows existed. That was a sign of the time.
President of Bell Bank's Duluth branch says restoring the building was a great decision.
Having Bell Bank operate in this building, we think it's going to demonstrate to the community that we're here to stay. We want people to come, visit, see the space, enjoy it as we do.
Those renovations amounted to a multi-million-dollar project. An incoming Wisconsin representative says he wants a full investigation into what motivated a mob that broke into the U.S. Capitol last week. U.S. Representative Scott Fitzgerald, a Republican, says he doesn't know if President Donald Trump was to blame for inciting the riot. He wants the investigation to look into who motivated and organized the event and whether there was cooperation with law enforcement. Fitzgerald says that while Trump did call on people to head to the Capitol, he did not think Trump wanted or expected them to turn violent. All right, let's head over to the weather now with Dave. Dave, a lot of rain down here by the lake, which sounds weird to say in January, but other folks got some snow around the region.
Yeah, and in a few minutes we'll show you the snow totals. It's ranged up towards 6 inches for some places, again, away from the lake, and way far away from the lake down in southwestern Minnesota. That's where the weather was the heaviest and still is till 6 o'clock tonight. Folks in southwestern Minnesota still looking at a blizzard warning in effect until then. In western Minnesota, northwestern Minnesota, winter weather advisory till 6 o'clock. But here in the heart of our region, most advisories have been dropped, except for a winter weather advisory that will continue for the snow belt of the South Shore until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. So folks there may get some heavier totals as we track on through the night. And tracking the system right now, we see lake-influenced snow happening for Friends on the South Shore and rain right by the lake, even here at the head of the lakes, Tony. Tony's been eyeing that up very seriously here the past day or so. Well, hopefully we can allay his uneasiness and make it go away tomorrow. Yeah, it should dry up tomorrow in Minnesota, but Wisconsin and Michigan, again, could get a little more lake effect. Road conditions right now are improving fairly rapidly, though. Towards the northwest in Minnesota, there are still some scattered slippery stretches to watch out for. And towards the upper peninsula, that's a little bit iffy as well. Otherwise, much of Minnesota and Wisconsin, good driving conditions tonight. If these change, of course, we'll show you this map again at 6 o'clock. But in the meantime, come 5 o'clock, the main weather will show you those snow totals and what's going to happen for the weekend.
Thanks, Dave. Still to come on Live at 5, how an annual ice fishing event aims to help nonprofits in Wisconsin. And tonight at 6, the push underway to help local businesses continue surviving during the pandemic.
You're watching Live at 5 with Kristen Vaki, Anthony Matt, and weather with meteorologist Dave Anderson on Live Local CBS3. When severe weather hits, tune to CBS3 for up-to-date coverage morning and night.
We're working hard to provide you with an improved DTA experience. With the Transit app, see your route in real time, get notifications, plan your trip, and more in one convenient place. And that's just one way we're building a better DTA.
Be smart. Be active. Be confident. Vision Pro Optical is here for you, specializing in eye exams, glasses, contacts, and billing your insurance. Serving the Northland for more than 30 years with you as our focus. Visit visionprooptical.com for hours and location details. Vision Pro Optical. Be and be seen.
At Play It Again Sports, we have the largest selection of new and used hockey equipment in the area, along with a huge selection of hockey sticks, apparel, and cross-country skis.
Trade in! Trade up! And save!
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Tough as Nails, a competition about America's toughest workers who wear the calluses on their hands as a badge of honor. Is everybody ready to get to work?
My strategy is to give it my blood, sweat, and tears.
Since I was a child, I learned what it means to work hard.
I faced adversity head on, and I overcome any challenge.
You have to be 100% all the time because that's going to cost you your life.
Tough as Nails returns Wednesday, February 10th on CBS.
Welcome back to the CBS3 News Live at 5. Here's a live look at Spirit Mountain, where skiers and snowboarders have had a pretty wet 24 hours or so. Dave will be in shortly to talk about that weekend forecast, but first, let's see what's happening around the region. From a change in the permitting process for the BWCA to improving the watershed in Wisconsin. That and more as we take you around the Northland, city by city. Starting off in the village of Poplar, Wisconsin, where local officials are asking residents to help reduce phosphorus in the area's watershed. They're asking people to use no-phosphate cleaners, compost leaves and grass, and clean up after your pets and reduce yard fertilizer use. Sticking in Wisconsin, the Northland Area Builders Association is preparing for their 11th annual ice fishing event in Hayward. It kicks off tomorrow at 8 a.m. The cost is $10 for adults and $5 for kids. Registration is at the Nelson Lake Public Boat Landing. A portion of the proceeds benefit the Nelson Lake Fish Sticks program and other local nonprofits. And finally, the Superior National Forest has updated the permit process for the BWCA. To prevent the spread of COVID-19, the Forest Service will offer alternatives to issuing permits in person and will conduct a virtual Leave No Trace education program. All permit holders are required to watch 3 education videos and review the BWCA regulations and rules prior to receiving their permit. If there's something going on in your neighborhood that you think we should know about, send us an email and it might be featured as we go around the Northland, city by city. Still to come on Live at 5, how a popular trend can help improve your mental health.
Well, one of the reasons we had fair amounts of rain mixed in with our snow today, temperatures were warmer than normal again and warmer than freezing in a lot of communities. But I think the warm spell is dialing down tomorrow. Temperatures become more normal for the week ahead. And when will we shake off this little bit of drizzle we got right now? I'll let you know both counts coming up after our break.
Whatever your water worry, Culligan Water can help. With over 40 filtration systems, including the world's best softener, no one filters more than Culligan Water. The only water that comes with a van. Contact Culligan, the local water experts.
Mount Royal Market has express online shopping. Shop online and select your items. Your personal shopper carefully gathers everything on your list. Schedule your pickup and we deliver right to your car. Express online shopping from Mount Royal Market. Let us take care of you.
For coverage that matters most to you, tune to CBS3.
Mining. It's a part of Minnesota's history that affects everyone in the Northlands still to this day. From environmental issues to economics and so much more. Join me, Kristen Bakke, every Tuesday for Eye on Mining, a fair and unbiased report that answers the tough questions surrounding the world of mining.
Eye on Mining with Kristen Bakke. Tuesdays at 10 only on live local CBS3. Brought to you by Iron Mining Association.
Epilepsy can affect anyone with a brain.
It does not discriminate.
If you have a brain,
you can get epilepsy.
But here's something that's just as important to know.
Anyone with a brain can affect epilepsy.
So let's use our brains to do just that.
Let's change the way people think about epilepsy.
To find cures.
Because if all of us can get epilepsy,
all of us can end epilepsy.
We just need to use our brains.
Let's use our brains.
Let's use our brains.
Let's use our brains to end epilepsy.
Northwest Outlet is your ARE truck topper headquarters.
Some things are just too important to leave out of your day. Make sure we aren't one of them. Live, local, CBS3.
Local news and local weather here on CBS3.
Now, the CBS3 Duluth WEATHERMAX forecast with meteorologist Dave Anderson.
For a lot of towns, our snowstorm was a bust last night and today, but for others, it paid off at least a little bit better. Let's go in and take a look at some of our totals, starting with high and going towards low. Makwa, almost 6.5 inches. Red Cliff, 5.5. Hill City, 5 inches. And Gile, usually the king or the queen, however you want to put it, of snow. Well, only 3 inches, but still that's not so bad comparatively. Olu, 2.5. Stone Lake, 2.3. Washburn, 2 inches. Up over the hill in Duluth, we managed 1.2 inches. Well, for Minnesotans, pretty much the snow is over, fading away. But in Wisconsin and the UP, those numbers could go up a little bit here because we still have another 12 hours of potential lake effect snow going in that neck of the woods. And so there's also a continuing winter weather advisory there, too. But here's a current look at what's happening in Virginia, where the streets are wet. They got a little bit up there as well, but it wasn't enough to really hamper traffic. Talking about current conditions, quick look at the airport in Duluth. 34 degrees, north winds going 8 miles per hour, and 29.78 inches of mercury is our barometric pressure. A little bit on the lower side, but it will start to increase beginning tomorrow, and by Sunday there may be enough pressure in the air to put down a couple clouds, bring back a little sun. Looking at current temperatures, 33 from Watersmeet to Ironwood and into Ashland and La Pointe and Red Cliff as well. 34 for Hayward, 34 also in Superior, and 34 is extended to Moose Lake and Cloquet and Hermantown and Two Harbors, Silver Bay as well. Lower 30s also prevalent for the Vermilion and Mesabi ranges and towards border country. But low temps will start to dip a little bit tonight, and even high temps will start to dip by tomorrow afternoon as more normal style temperatures finally come to call after a long warm spell. Well, the low pressure system that brought the clouds and precip last night and through today starting to move to the east, so things are starting to dry up in northern Minnesota. Though here at the head of the lakes with a little lake influence, we're still getting some snow showers mixed in with a little bit of rain as well. And that's going on along the South Shore, hence the advisory from the Bayfield Peninsula towards the border with the Upper Peninsula until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Another inch or two is possible there. Folks in the UP at this moment are getting more rain than anything else, but I do think it's going to fade away once we get towards tomorrow for most places. But again, keep in mind the lake effect goes on for the South Shore at least till 6 o'clock in the morning and maybe a few hours after that as well. Once we get into Sunday, higher pressure settles in briefly to make it dry. But we're already eyeing up our next low pressure system here that'll make it cloudy by Monday. And maybe that low brings us our next snow chance, which could hit us come Wednesday. But right now it looks like a 30% chance, and it doesn't look like much snow from that deal either. Tonight, here's the deal for Minnesota. Temperature-wise, the range of lows will go from as cool as 15 inland to as warm as 28 by the lake, with a mostly cloudy sky. For Wisconsin and Michigan, you have a 60% chance for that lake effect snow business to continue with your low temps in the mid-20s. And for tomorrow in Wisconsin and Michigan, a cloudy sky with a 40% chance for more snow. Probably just light stuff, but it could add up through persistence. High temps 27 to 30. For Minnesota, though, the numbers start to come down 22 to 30 with a mostly cloudy sky. And we take a look at the week ahead, which shows the temperature trends going downwards as the week goes on. By Monday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, closer to normal than we've been for a while, 13 for the low, 23 for the high with a mostly cloudy sky, which gives way towards that next snow chance by Wednesday, Tony, which again is kind of an indifferent chance at this stage of the game.
Okay, I was a little disappointed. I know lots of people around us got snow, but with just the rain down here by the lake, it just kind of made things look a little, it almost felt like November out there, I guess is what I'm saying.
Or March.
Or March, yeah.
And the snowmobilers, especially in the tip of the Arrowhead, are indeed a little disappointed. They didn't get any fresh snow to get the trails going a little bit better.
A little disappointing. Thanks, Dave. New research out of Britain suggests mindfulness courses can improve mental health, but they may not be for everyone. CBS's Tina Kraus has a story from London.
Keeping your breath natural.
The popular form of meditation known as mindfulness is practiced around the world.
For most people in most settings, it will improve depression, anxiety, stress, and well-being.
A University of Cambridge study looked at data from 29 countries and found while community mindfulness courses can improve mental health, in at least 1 in 20 trial settings, it did not help anxiety and depression.
In some cases, a few cases, it may not be beneficial. It may just not have an effect.
Researchers followed almost 12,000 participants, including in the U.S. Most were women who took part in classes at work or college. They found mindfulness, compared with doing nothing, boosted mental health. So things like exercise may work just as well.
We did find a slight advantage of the mindfulness courses that had an element of physical activity in them.
Right, 10 seconds.
British body coach Joe Wicks says fitness and mindfulness work hand in hand.
Don't exercise to look good this year, exercise to feel good. Good morning, everybody.
When the pandemic hit, Wicks became the world's PE teacher, launching live workouts on YouTube to give people a lift during lockdown.
Ultimately, you walk away from that workout, whether you're an adult or a kid, feeling a little bit happier, and that's the main aim of it.
Natural breathing.
Cambridge researchers say the number of mindfulness classes has jumped significantly during COVID, and they'll continue to study its effect on mental health.
Researchers say the effectiveness of online courses for mindfulness has yet to be determined, but preliminary studies suggest they work despite the lack of direct contact. Well, let's talk about today's adoptable pet, which comes to us from Range Regional Animal Rescue. This is Finley, a 2-year-old pit bull mix. He has tons of energy and is always wagging his tail and zooming around. Finley just loves chewing on tennis balls. The more the merrier for this guy. If you think you would like to adopt this stocky, stubby bundle of fun, call the number on your screen. He is up to date on shots, neutered, and he is ready to take home. Still to come, the Sulaks are set to close for 3 months. What it means for the shipping industry in the Twin Ports.
Still hard to find a spot, just easier to park. Still the big move, just more moving. Still singing, just more in tune. Still the gang's all here, just less are we there yet. The Chevy family of SUVs, making life's journey just better.
Get a $5,500 cash allowance on most 2020 Equinox models. Plus, current Chevy owners with an eligible GM credit card get an additional $1,750 total allowance. Visit TrueNorthChevyDealers.com.
Don't let the weather ruin your day.
Covered by a winter storm watch.
Dave Anderson, Caitlin Moffat, and Peter Kavitkauskas. The CBS3 weather team, tracking more than just severe storms. Dave.
Tough as nails. A competition about America's toughest workers who wear the calluses on their hands as a badge of honor. Is everybody ready to get to work?
My strategy is to give it my blood, sweat, and tears.
Since I was a child, I learned what it means to work hard.
I face adversity head on and I overcome any challenge.
You have to be 100% all the time because that's going to cost you your life.
Tough as Nails returns Wednesday, February 10th on CBS.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear. Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome to the Kelly Clarkson Show!
I can't even hug her? I'm touching people. I'm touching you. I'm touching you.
This show is about connection, and not even 2020 and socially distancing ourselves, they're going to get in the way of that.
Are we 6 feet apart?
Let's just check it out.
The major key is to make sure they watch the Kelly Clarkson show.
I don't think any other year is ever going to be like 2020. I never thought that I would go through something like this ever in my life. This pandemic's not a isolated thing to our country or to our state or to our city. This is something that's affecting the world. And that just shows really how interconnected we all are. And I think that's why news is so important, because news is kind of like that lifeline to kind of bring that information out and bring us all together.
Watch Jenna and Caitlin in the morning at 5 and 6 a.m.
Local news and local weather here on CBS3.
We have officially seen the last ships pass under the aerial lift bridge for the winter. That's because the Sulaks close tonight at midnight, meaning the end of the shipping season as ships go into their winter layups. The executive director of the Duluth Seaway Port Authority says this winter hiatus is used for much needed maintenance on the ships.
That's the opportunity for the ships to be repaired. And they also have scheduled maintenance that needs to happen. So both, surprise repairs, just like when something goes wrong with your car, and maintenance can occur. It's a great opportunity for the tradesmen and women of the twin ports here to get to do that work when those ships come here for winter layup.
The Sulaks are expected to open back up to ships on March 25th. Jacob Blake claims he was, quote, ready to surrender just before a Kenosha police officer shot him in the back. Blake, a black man, was shot by a white police officer in Kenosha last August. They were trying to arrest him on an outstanding warrant. Blake said in a TV interview that his pocket knife fell from his pants during a struggle with police. The officer told investigators he feared that Blake was going to stab him, so he opened fire. A Wisconsin prosecutor declined to file charges against the officer, stating he could not disprove that the officer acted in self-defense.
Coming up on the CBS Evening News, shocking new details on the assault at the Capitol. How close did the mob of rioters get to Vice President Pence and his family? And the chilling note left behind. Plus, Biden's ambitious COVID plan. The president-elect aims to vaccinate 100 million in his first 100 days. Wait till you hear about where you can get your vaccine. And we go on the road tonight with a story about an unforgettable friendship. That's all tonight here on the CBS Evening News.
Change the future of medicine from the convenience of home. Join the All of Us research program to help improve health research and speed up medical breakthroughs. Visit essentialhealth.org/allofus to learn more.
Coming up tonight with the Duluth Chamber of Commerce is asking local lawmakers during this legislative session.
The historic Temple Opera building is off the market. Which business took it over? Next.
Join us weeknights. We're live at 5 as we go around the Northland, city by city.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Mining. It's a part of Minnesota's history that affects everyone in the Northland still to this day. From environmental issues to economics and so much more. Join me, Kristen Bakke, every Tuesday for Eye on Mining. A fair and unbiased report that answers the tough questions surrounding the world of mining.
Eye on Mining with Kristen Bakke. Tuesdays at 10 only on live local CBS3. Brought to you by Iron Mining Association.
Epilepsy can affect anyone with a brain.
It does not discriminate.
If you have a brain,
You can get epilepsy.
But here's something that's just as important to know.
Anyone with a brain can affect epilepsy.
So let's use our brains to do just that.
Let's change the way people think about epilepsy.
To find cures.
Because if all of us can get epilepsy,
All of us can end epilepsy.
We just need to use our brains.
Let's use our brains. Let's use our brains.
let's use our brains to end epilepsy.
Men's wardrobe provided by Mainstream Fashions for Men, celebrating 30 years in business in 2021 with 30% off store-wide, downtown Duluth.
Welcome back to the CBS3 News Live at 5. Here's a live look at Giants Ridge as we slide into the weekend. A cool weekend on tap could provide some ideal conditions for those outdoor winter activities. Let's take a quick look back at tonight's top story and preview what's still coming at 6. Security continues to ramp up in Washington, D.C. ahead of next week's presidential inauguration. Law enforcement sources say there is an unprecedented threat of violence from domestic extremist groups. Even President-elect Joe Biden has had to change some of his plans for Inauguration Day. And tonight at 6, a story of Waseca police officer Eric Mattson is inspiring some Minnesota lawmakers to take action. It was a year ago last week when Mattson was shot while chasing a suspect through a Waseca neighborhood. He sustained serious injuries that required multiple surgeries and rehab. Now lawmakers are introducing a bill that would impose harsher penalties for acts of violence against police. We'll have more on that story tonight at 6. That's your news at 5. The evening news is next, and we'll see you again.